I would hope from a craft brew perspective that we kind of brew beer for every different kind of beer drinker that there is.
Yeah. We have our vineyard, which has 4 different varietals in it. With those, we can make 7 different wines.
Cheers! Welcome to Pocono Mountains Podcast, everyone. This is Season 4, Episode 9. I'm Jim Hamill. As many of you are aware, this host is very fond of all things on the Pocono Beverage Trail. The people behind the brews, wines, and spirits have such a great story to tell, and we're thankful to have so many stops along that trail where visitors can experience the Poconos craft beverage industry. It's still in the planning phases, but a celebration of all things Pocono Beverage Trail is coming later this year. There's my favorite new event, the Homestale Beer and Wine Fest, in its second year, October 13th, at the Wayne County Fairgrounds, featuring lots of Beverage Trail members too. And in Stroudsburg, there are 2 of those stops along the trail that really have some great stories and products to share. More on Bavino's Brewery and Eagles Rest Cellars in a bit. The Poconos is a year-round destination for millions with 2,400 square miles of mountains, lakes, forests, and rivers with historic downtowns and iconic family resorts. It's a perfect getaway. You can always find out more on PoconoMountains.com or watch PTN, the Pocono Television Network, streaming live 24/7. Now, back to the episode. Our first stop is with Bavino's Brewery in Stroudsburg. Ed Malsh loves to talk about his brew pub on Main Street with the different beers on tap, and he was totally amazing to have us for a recent episode of Pocono Mountains Magazine. Here's our longer discussion about his stop on the Pocono Beverage Trail. Enjoy. Hi, folks. Jim Hamill with Pocono Mountains Podcast, sitting bar side here and not too far away from where these beers originated here, but Bavino's Brewery, Main Street, Stroudsburg, with Ed Malsh. You guys have really kind of come onto the scene here in downtown Stroudsburg just within the last couple years and made a name for yourselves in this delicious, delectable craft brew that you do. What do you love so much about doing this at Bavino's?
It is not a job to me, brewing beer. I've done a lot of jobs, but this, when I come to work every day, it is, I have so much fun. It is not work, interact with people. I can sit there, spend hours doing it, and thoroughly enjoy it. Love talking to people, talking about the beer. Just good.
And it's rough life when you got to sample the beer. You got to be quality control, right? So,
tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
I might as well take a sip now, right?
You might as well. Cheers to that, man. I'll get in on this, too. Thank you for having us here. Sure. This is a part of the Pocono Beverage Trail, right?
Yes, Pocono Beverage Trail. I think this is going to be our first year doing it now, the Pocono Beverage Trail.
Pocono Beverage Trail. We've got a lot of those breweries, wineries, distilleries all throughout the 4 counties. But this is a unique one because it's right downtown in Stroudsburg. People can, get into town here and shop and then dine here. You guys have food. You guys have the beverage. Tell me what it is that you guys really specialize in here from a craft brew perspective.
I would hope from a craft brew perspective that we kind of brew beer for every different kind of beer drinker that there is.
Yeah.
So, from light beers to darker beers to lagers, I think we do a pretty good job of making drinkable beer for a lot of people. So, I hope.
Yeah.
Well, let's see the sour.
I was just going to say, speaking of, you got the sours too, and this one's a lip tickler sour.
See that little sour face?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep, that pucker, man, pucker. Well, you guys, you said self-taught in some ways, but also like you know the chemistry that goes into creating, food and beverage.
Oh, yeah. No, a lot of people like to think you've been doing it and you go to school and you do all that, but I've cooked my whole life, and about 8-9 years ago, bought some equipment, started doing it, and started out small and just kept progressing. And even now with what we have here, I constantly want bigger. Yeah. But hopefully we keep getting a lot of support, which we do. Downtown Stroudsburg is great for supporting local beer, and we'll see.
So it's been something of a passion of yours, but then you get to share that with the public, right? So you try to kind of aim to please with all those different varieties of craft beer. What's some of your favorite stuff here? You got a mosaic here.
Oh, mighty mosaic.
That's your thing. That's your go-to.
Well, when people always say to you, what is your favorite beer? Yeah. And I'm always like, that is such a tough question. Not a tough question for me to answer,
right?
Because I will 100% of the time say, if I was going to drink a beer with you and sit down with you, I would drink this mighty mosaic.
Yeah.
So it's the hop mosaic, it's the style of the IPA, it's the ingredients in it. I just find it to be such a drinkable beer for me.
Yeah.
And it is very popular here. So That's probably what if I was going to sit down with you, I just met you for the first time like now, that's what I would sit down and drink, and that's what I am drinking.
Cheers to that, man.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. So you don't do this alone. You're not a one-man show. You guys have quite the crew here. You're pretty proud of everybody who works.
Oh, I could not be more proud of the people who work here. I am one little part of this operation. I say little. I brew the beer. I like to just brew the beer. If it wasn't like my daughter Bree, who's hiding over there, if it was not for her and the George in the kitchen, they do a phenomenal job with the customers. I mean, that is, I love talking to people, but I love talking about beer.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of it, I'm kind of like, Bree, you know, so yeah, it is an unbelievable crew. I have a girl, really good friend of mine who helps me out 3 days a week brewing, who's not here right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, without that, I would be, this would not go on a daily basis. It would not.
And we've spent time at a lot of these breweries and wineries and distilleries here in the Poconos, and it does seem like they're all born out of these family kind of environments where you need to have that to be able to do what you do. So here it seems as though you guys have the right recipe for not just the drink, you've got the food as well, but also bringing in the community too. And that's part of what the Pocono Beverage Trail is too, is like letting people kind of get from place to place. Either they're visiting here or they're from the northern part of the Poconos or the southern part. What kind of reception have you seen from people joining in that experience of like sampling what you guys have here and then going on to another destination, you know?
Oh, that is such a good thing, being on Main Street. They can start, maybe they don't start here. They could have started somewhere else, but they end up here. They sit down, they have beer, they can enjoy the food. It has been a very positive, like, it's just a good response to the people.
Yeah, man. So for Bovino's, like, this is kind of like a remade space in town that you guys have made home for your brew operation, but you want to grow it at a certain point too, right?
Oh,
so,
sure.
So you're thinking like, hey, this is just the beginning of something even bigger.
Yeah. I mean, people have approached us as far as putting kegs in local bars and selling our cans in other places. So that is definitely in our near future. We will be upgrading a couple more tanks and a bigger canning line to meet those demands. So it took us 7-8 months solid just to build this place before we opened up.
Okay.
So coming out of that, now we see what the business is. We see what people expect or want from us in the future too. So cans are probably the number one thing right now for us. We could
canning your operation is
I mean, we can them here to go. We sell 4-packs,
right?
But outside of here, some local distributors, they really are interested in having our cans in there. So that's the next phase, and more festivals and more everything like that. Get the name out as much as we can.
Now, I've just sampled all 4 beers here while we've been talking, kind of on the sly. But no, and it does run the gamut here. That blood orange was very flavorful. And I just look at the list over here. We've got a hazy. We've got Sage Against the Machine. So that's
a one-off.
Clearly have to be a
machine.
Totally, I like the name too. It's got to have a totally different flavor to it. We've got stouts. We've got mango ales, Butterface Milk Stout, Riding Dirty Blonde. I just love these names, but also it seems like it runs the spectrum of tastes and flavors, right?
Sure. I try to please as many people as I possibly can when they come in. So I try to brew, like we said before, from the lightest beers, middle of the road beers, pale ales, sours, all the way up to as hoppy an IPA as people want. Really, I haven't done like a double IPA yet. You know, like
no lactose, like fall on your face kind of.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the Butterface has lactose in it.
Oh yeah.
A little bourbon. Butterscotch milk stout.
That's delicious.
That Butterface is popular. But coming into this season, the summer season, like our it was mango summer ale, but we sold, it was probably one of the most popular beers that we had to take the summer out and just name it mango ale.
So you could have
because when we would stop doing it, everybody would be like, where's that beer? Where is that beer? So it is a year-round beer now, but I say about the tea bagger too. Tea bagger, it's like a iced tea, lemonade iced tea, but very, very, very popular in the summertime, the warmer weather. Might have to sample that.
Now, you guys have some other PA and locally made spirits here too. Do you guys also do the NA stuff? I know that's kind of like a thing that's happening right now.
That we're trying to get in there, the little gluten-free. And that's something that we are definitely working on here in the near future for sure.
Yeah, you got to change as the times change, right?
Yeah. But the local wine and the local spirits is really good.
Yeah.
So people enjoy drinking that. A lot of wine drinkers come in here, so you got to have the wine.
Yeah.
So very good.
So it's a one-stop shop. If you want to get a bite to eat, you want to enjoy some live music from time to time too. Yeah. And then if you want to meet the brewer, you're here.
I'm right there. Right there when they come in, and then they lean up on the railing over there, and then I talk for an hour.
That's a fantastic.
And I'm like, oh,
that's a fantastic line of work. It seems like it kind of fits, the mold.
Oh, I don't mind it. Sometimes I maybe should talk a little less, but I enjoy it.
Well, that's what I love about the beverage trail, and obviously what your industry is all about is that it's a personable business. Like, rarely do I go to a winery, distillery, or brewery and meet somebody who's like standoffish. It's like, you are doing this because you want to interact with the public and you want to share what you make with everybody.
That also came from, I think, kind of starting out in the pizza business. I started out in 2006, which transitioned into this too. When people walk their door, it sounds so cliche to say it, but I want people to feel so comfortable. Yeah. Just feel like they're at home, say whatever, talk, conversation, enjoy good food, and say they want to come back, which we do get. So,
well, we will be back.
Nice.
Ed Malsh, the Bovino's Brewery, right here on Main Street in Stroudsburg, right in the heart of town, right in the heart of the Poconos. Make sure you try all the beverages, maybe once, maybe twice. Clearly have a DD. But thanks for joining us here on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good stuff. Cheers to you, man. Bovino's Brewery on Main Street in Stroudsburg. Just head to PoconoBeverageTrail.com to learn more. Thanks for listening to Pocono Mountains Podcast. We'll have a new episode each week, highlighting lots of the fun things you can experience while you're visiting the Poconos. Subscribe and leave a review and/or comment on whatever platform you listen.
For a warm welcome and refreshing wine, Three Hammers Winery really delivers.
The hops at 2nd District Brew Farm are grown right here.
Bright Path Brewing is a small-town craft brewery with a big flavor. Your trail awaits you. Make it whatever you want. Wineries, breweries, or distilleries.
I've always wanted to craft a trail.
Of course you do. Visit PoconoBeverageTrail.com.
We're back. Thanks for listening to Pocono Mountains Podcast. I'm Jim Hamill. Now for a change of pace and heading out of Stroudsburg's downtown to Eagles Rest Cellars. It's on a gorgeous piece of land in Cherry Valley and has such a rich story of family and flying. They, too, welcome you to stop in on the Pocono Beverage Trail soon. Enjoy. Hey, everyone. It's Jim Hamill with Pocono Mountains Podcast, sitting outside here on a beautiful spring day in the Pocono Mountains at Eagles Rest Cellars here. This is in Cherry Valley, really just close to Stroudsburg. I'm with the owner, Royce Featherman. You guys have had this for a generation or more now, with your father initially starting a Christmas tree farm here many moons ago. Tell me what this is like to be a steward of this property and now have people come and enjoy what comes from the land here.
Exactly. We loved having the farm when we bought it in '84, and so right into Christmas trees. So that was our farming aspect of it, but more of the fact that we knew that we were never going to develop it, my father and I. And with that being said, it is in a conservation easement, which is very nice for Cherry Valley and the Poconos. It's open space. It allows for this land never to be developed, and we're very proud of that aspect of it too. And with the open space, they allow me to still do agricultural, which I chose grapes.
Yeah.
And with the agritourism ordinance, that Stroud Township helped me develop, and I helped them develop the ordinance. We went ahead and now we can do practices like a winery and a vineyard.
So this vineyard kicked off 2015 or so. Ever since then, you've been making wine, welcoming people to the fireside, area here, and just developing this as, an escape from the everyday, but also too, it's like kind of a really great part of what the Poconos offers from, the outdoors, and then craft beverages like wine that you make here. So you must be pretty proud of what you've built so far.
Oh, absolutely, especially since it was with my father before he passed away. My daughter, tremendous amount of help as she was finishing up college. And then with my wife, who just is a jack of all trades and has helped tremendously too.
So what do you guys have here? You guys have a couple different wines that you make here. That you have your own wine cellar on property, but it's one of those very tied into a lot of events that you hold seasonally, right?
It is. We have our vineyard, which has 4 different varietals in it. With those, we can make 7 different wines because we will blend those with a strawberry wine or an apple wine from Heckman's down the road, and then we'll also take some of the dry reds and we'll blend those into what we call layover as one of our dry red wines. And you're saying, what's layover? Well, that gets into another story of the names of our wines. They're all aviation terms because of the history of the family.
That makes a lot of sense there too, and even aviation from a natural standpoint, like the eagles that you actually see here on property, that live in the area, and you guys provide this open space and this preserved space for them.
We do, and they're on the property every single day. And people ask why Eagles Rest. It was Tree Plantation. Now it's Eagles Rest Cellars. Eagle is synonymous with pilot, which is what my father was with Trans World Airlines. And this is where he came to rest, to retire. So that's why it's called Eagles Rest.
That's a great backstory that I didn't know until now.
Yes.
That's really cool. So now that'll just resonate really well with people who learn about that. And that's what I get the vibe from you guys here is it's a place to come rest. It's a place to come enjoy in what the earth provides here and what you guys provide from a hospitality standpoint and agritourism standpoint. You really enjoy creating the wine as well and sharing samples, I'm sure, tastings and the like.
We do. We do have tastings. We have a lot of outdoor areas. We have music on weekends. There's a lot to offer on top of just the beauty of Cherry Valley. We do have 15 different wines that we sell. We make all our own wines here. And we also, with our winery license, we're allowed to sell craft beverage brews, right, which would be beer, locally sourced beer from Shawnee Craft, Richmond Farms and Brewery, and Log Tavern from up in Milford.
Yeah.
Milford. As well as one more other thing, and that's distilled spirits. And that's from Silverback, so and they're veteran-owned also.
Yeah, you're veteran-owned, and that's a source of pride for you as well, right?
My wife and I, we're both retired Air Force, over 25 years.
Wow. Yes. So people can certainly find you guys here, just stone's throw from downtown Stroudsburg, but also on this Pocono Beverage Trail, right? And it's a great stop, it would seem, too, from like an outdoor experience that you can have here, from a tasting experience, but then you can get a lot of those locally made craft beverages, from the different breweries that you mentioned here too. So how have you found the Pocono Beverage Trail really gets people in your door or incentivizes people to experience places like you because they've been somewhere else on the trail?
Exactly. I was just going to bring that up. Is the beauty of the beverage trail is everybody gets along. And from Sengo Kura, who is the only sake brewer in the state of Pennsylvania, all the way over to the Meadery in downtown Stroudsburg, which is a honey wine. Yeah. So when people come in, they get to talk to us. We find out they were on the Pocono Beverage Tour online, and they say, your suggestion, where else should we try? And that's, well, have you ever tried mead? Have you ever tried sake? Yeah. And as well as the talent for beer making and distilled spirits is very high.
And people can come and enjoy all those 4 full seasons here, right?
We do. We do a lot of craft and sips. So, now that we do not sell Christmas trees anymore, we still have a lot on the property. And we'll do a wreath making workshop. Okay. They're set up for 4 people at a 2-hour time frame. And normally sisters and family members get together or high school friends, and they'll get together and make their own wreath custom. We have my daughter, my wife, a couple of our workers are very crafty, and they'll show them how to make a beautiful door wreath and just enjoy the day on top of other crafts. Yeah,
and we had just discussed, too, the lay of the land here, too. So you have a bunch of different gardens coming online. You have pumpkins in the fall. So there's a multifaceted kind of approach to what you guys do here all year round. And that must be a lot of work, too.
Oh, it's a tremendous amount of work. And but the pumpkins, it was a nice surprise. I had heard they were hard to grow. knock on wood, our first yield was very nice. It's just nobody knew we sold pumpkins, but that's beside the fact. We have a beautiful location for them to grow, which is right next to the wine tasting room. Easy access to walk through, pick your pumpkin, and have a good time. We're also doing sunflowers this year. Once again, never dove into that endeavor. Looking forward to a beautiful, picturesque area for people to enjoy.
A lot on the horizon for Eagles Rest Cellars here in Cherry Valley, just in Stroudsburg.
So 2 miles south of Main Street, Stroudsburg.
Yeah, it was like a quick jump from the downtown brewery that we were just at, Bovino's Brewery. So it just seems like a great ecosystem here of all these different proprietors like yourselves who kind of like welcome people to the Poconos and serve as great ambassadors for the agritourism and the craft brew industry too. So congratulations to you and your family for all the success and the continued success.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us, Royce. We appreciate it. And we'll be sampling some wines, I'm sure, soon.
You will be. On me.
Thanks, man.
Okay.
Eagles Rest Cellars, one of the many wineries across the Pocono Mountains to visit while you're on the Pocono Beverage Trail. Head to PoconoBeverageTrail.com to learn more. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Pocono Mountains Podcast. Please remember to subscribe anywhere podcasts are available. Come visit us in the Pocono Mountains. Plan your trip today.